Israel is like that ex that gaslit me, and the moment that they like poke at you and poke at you and poke at you and take from you and take from you and take from you until the moment that you've not had enough and you fight back, and then you're wrong for feeling that way. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, Nadine Speaks. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that red subscribe button down below to see my beautiful face on your feed. So, it's taken me quite a few times to shoot this. I'm kind of nervous because this is such a volatile topic, and it's a topic that means so much to me because it has directly impacted my family. It's directly impacted how I identify myself in this life, and it's directly impacted my experience growing up as well, being Palestinian. If you don't already know, I'm 100% Palestinian. All my blood is fully Palestinian. Both of my parents, their families are from Palestine, and so it's something that is very, very deeply in my heart, and it's almost like an ancestral wound at this point because my whole life has been intense trying to defend my home country. So before I get into the details about all my thoughts and feelings about what is going on currently, I just wanted to give you a little bit of background of my family's personal history so you can see for yourself how personal this is for me. Another disclaimer that I want to make is that all these opinions in these videos and these thoughts and these feelings, they are mine. This is based on my own experience of and my own perspective of what I've actually seen and felt in the world being Palestinian. Let's dive in first to my family history. So like I said before, my mom and dad are Palestinian, but it kind of gets fuzzy because of all the war that has been going on there for the past 73 years since 1948. All the political strife and everything has displaced my whole family. So just in my family history, you can see the displacement. My grandma on my mom's side was born in Jerusalem, but my grandpa on my mom's side was born in Honduras, but their family also came from Palestine as well, and they actually fled Palestine and immigrated to Honduras to start a better life there because of the war. And then you have my dad's side. So my dad comes from a little village north of Nazareth called Tehran. I will put it on the map for you here so you can see, so you can get a visual of where it is. And my dad actually was a Palestinian refugee born in Lebanon. So because of the war, you know, it was so volatile, that situation there. How do you even raise a baby? My grandparents on my dad's side, my dad's mom and dad, they fled Palestine as well and sought refuge in Lebanon. But the whole situation in Lebanon is crazy as well. I mean, you see it in the news all the time, just how crazy that situation is there. And you know, I hear stories from my dad about growing up in a refugee camp in Lebanon and how horrible the situation was. I mean, imagine you're this little boy and you are trying to sleep in this shelter and you can't sleep because all you hear are the rats running on the tin roof, or you have to go to the bathroom in a hole in the ground and all you hear is gunshots. You're walking to your school and you have to be worried about being shot or being bombed. And I've seen it for myself, you know. I've seen the refugee camp myself. My dad has taken me there. I have seen the bullet holes in the walls and everything. I mean, my poor dad when he was little had to carry an AK-47 just for security purposes to stay safe over there. So you can see how it's directly impacted my family. Moving on through the line, my grandpa went to Palestine to get a wife. That's how he found my grandma. And so my grandma and grandpa then went to live on in Honduras, and my mom was born in Honduras. So all of the ancestry is Palestinian, but you can see how they've been displaced now all over the world, so I have family all over the world. My dad's family, you know, they were living in Lebanon, but most of them now live in Denmark. So they sought asylum in Denmark because by the grace of God, they were willing to accept them as refugees. And I think that's another thing that people don't think about is the whole refugee situation. My dad was never a citizen of his own country. He was never been able to call Palestine like a citizen of Palestine, or even a citizen of Lebanon for that matter, because in Lebanon, when you're a refugee, you can't ever become a citizen, and if you're not a citizen, you can't even own property. So my dad was never a citizen of any country until he came to America. And that's why I'm so grateful to be American. I'm so grateful that, you know, America at that time was welcoming refugees, but what's gonna happen in the future when they don't? And what are people to do when they're living in their country and they have been kicked out of their home and they have nowhere to go? Like, you can slice the pie any which way, but it really boils down to that. You're in your home, somebody knocks on your door, they kick you out, where do you go? Can you just if you get nothing from this video, just imagine that whole situation in your head. You're in your house, people knock on the door, they tell you you can't live there anymore, and where are you gonna go? Where are you gonna go? I mean, just thinking about that really grinds my gears. That whole situation directly happened to my grandma. So my grandma was in her house, in her nice 5-story house. I will put a picture of it here. And today is actually, when I'm filming this, is called Nakba Day. Nakba Day is the day that they commemorate the day that they displaced around 750,000 Palestinians from their home. I mean, can you even imagine that? It was around January 4th or 5th, back in 1948. Israelis just came knocking on their door and told them that they have to leave their house. I mean, can you just imagine like how terrified you would be if somebody came to your door and said that you couldn't live there anymore? Like, now you're homeless just because they think that that's their land. Like, I mean, that doesn't really even make sense to me in my head. Like, I can't even like process it at all. It's really, honestly, really difficult. My cousin actually went there a couple years ago, and I myself have not been to Palestine because honestly I'm too scared and sad of what it will look like in reality. I almost want to keep it looking like a paradise in my head, because, you know, I'm proud to be Palestinian, but when I see the images and everything going on in the news and how ugly it really has become, it honestly breaks my heart. I used to go to Lebanon all the time. Like, when I was growing up, we used to go to Lebanon and spend every summer there, and the closest I've been to Palestine is literally the border of Lebanon and Israel, and just being there like on the border in the mountains and like seeing the UN trucks pass by was a lot as well. And I mean, if you can just imagine like being a little kid and seeing that, it really, you know, makes its mark in your memory. I can't imagine, you know, being actually there and being kicked out of my house, and what do you do? I mean, like, how are you even supposed to fight back? It's kind of ridiculous too, the comparison that they're making. You know, the president is saying, you know, that Israel's reaction was warranted to the stuff that, you know, and whenever I hear those kind of things in the news, I get really triggered, because I really feel sometimes that Israel is like that ex that gaslit me, and the moment that they like poke at you and poke at you and poke at you and take from you and take from you and take from you until the moment that you've not had enough and you fight back, and then you're wrong for feeling that way. You're unjust for your reaction, if you will. And it's almost, I mean, it really is the analogy of someone throwing a rock, or, you know, throwing a little piece of dust at their bully, and then the bully fighting back with an AK-47 and rockets. And I mean, can we just take a moment and just like think about that like logically? I mean, come on, dude. Like, the other thing that really grinds my gears, this is really like Nadine's rant about the situation, because I've held my tongue for so long. Growing up, it was really hard for me to even admit that I was Palestinian. It was really hard because whenever I would say I was Palestinian, they would think the first thing that people would label me is anti-Semitic, and I hate when people call me anti-Semitic or even allude to the fact that I'm anti-Semitic, because even the root of that word doesn't make any sense to me, because in order to be a Semite, Semite means that you're from that specific Semitic region, and the people actually who immigrated there that are now Israeli actually aren't Semitic at all, which kind of like annoys the shit out of me as well. And the other thing that annoys me or grinds my gears just a little bit is that the fact that my dad's family sought refuge in Denmark, which is a European state, and the people that came to take their land essentially came from or were exiled out of Europe. So anyways, let me tell you my direct experience with being Palestinian growing up. I was in 7th grade. I was around 12 or 13. I was minding my own goddamn business, reading a Holocaust book in English class, and the teacher basically wrote on the board that, like, she wrote Palestinians are violent on the board, okay? Can you imagine seeing that as like an impressionable young woman, and you are trying to understand your identity and you are Palestinian, and now she wrote on the board all Palestinians are violent? Let's just take a minute and think about how that affects someone that's young and is coping with who they are as a person. And no, just because I'm Palestinian, I am not Muslim, I am not Jewish, I am Christian. And it's kind of crazy, like I'm actually a Catholic Palestinian, and those two words together people don't seem to understand either. People always growing up would think I was Muslim because I was Palestinian or Arabic, and I had to kindly explain to them that it's not based on religion, it's based on region. Can we make that, like, can we normalize that? Like, can we normalize saying that we're a religion instead of like, oh, where are you from? A region, not a religion. Can we also normalize that there are Palestinian Jews that are getting their land taken out? So it's not Judaism against Christianity, against Islam, against whatever religion. It's literally a Zionist, a group, an extremist group of people that want to ethnically cleanse Palestinians. So it's synonymous to a genocide, to an apartheid, to a Holocaust, if you will. I mean, what did Desmond Tutu say? Let me get my handy dandy quotes out. If you are neutral in situations of injustice, you have chosen the side of the oppressor. And in this case, we have a classic twist on who is the oppressor in this situation. It's kind of funny in a sick, twisted way that the people that were being oppressed in Europe are now oppressing another group of people. Let's just like have that sink in for a moment, okay? Like, we're not saying that one person is right or wrong and this is this person's land and fuck you, get our land back. This is not about land at this point. This is about basic human rights, basic morality. If you look at the UN Council, you'll see all the war crimes and all the human rights violations that Israel has done over the years, and that's a whole nother thing. I mean, when are they gonna be tried globally for their war crimes and their violations of the human rights? I don't know. Like, the reason I wanted to make this video is because this is my protest. This is my version of speaking up and calling out injustice and standing up for what is right in the world and sharing my perspective, and hopefully you watching at home understand where I'm coming from as an American Palestinian, and hopefully you can empathize with me a little bit. I feel like all us minorities are in the same boat here, whether you're for Black Lives Matter or we're stopping Asian hate. I mean, this is the same kind of thing. You see a group of people trying to basically get rid of a whole other culture of people. This is the same as what's happened in the apartheid in South Africa. This is the same as exactly what happened in the Holocaust. This is the same as the Armenian genocide. It's the same thing. They're trying to get rid of a whole culture here. Like, get that through your head. Do you understand that? And it's like so frustrating for me, because honestly, this video is the only thing I feel like I can do. It's the only way I feel like I can speak up and I feel like I'm doing something. It's trying to spread awareness, and it really makes me, you know, sad that people think that it's a political issue. I really struggle lately with the whole idea that morality is tied to being like political. Like, I honestly hate being political. I like to stand up for what is right. I don't care what side that is on. I like to stand up for justice, period. I don't care if that makes me, if you want to put me in a category because of my morality, but I don't really care what that category is. All I care is that it is morally just and right to stand up for humans that are dying because a group of people said they had to die because they want their houses. Like, this is kind of ridiculous at this point. The other thing that is hard for me to process is that our American government sends billions of dollars to Israel for weaponry, but we can't even fix the own problems in our country, like homelessness or poverty or education. Add this to the list of things that I'm angry about today. So I think I did a good job. Whether, I know that it's kind of scattered, this whole video is kind of gonna be scattered because I'm, you know, it's an emotional video. I'm trying not to cry here. I'm trying not to be angry and throw my camera out the window because I really feel helpless. All we can do is stand together and unite as a people, and that's that. Please share this video. Please spread the word of the perspective of a Palestinian living in America and the effect that it's had on my family. It's really made me who I am today. It's really made me understand what is right and what is morally correct and what I need to fight for. Let me know down below what your thoughts are on this situation. Is there something you want me to talk about that I didn't cover today? And I encourage you to educate yourself, learn more about the history if you will, but just know that this is not just about land. It's about human rights and human life. So thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.